whether SBTC Esports are able to get TF onto a champion that can really facilitate the rest of the team, or if Divine can get Len just snowballing. For me, though, I'm also looking at the supporting cast built around the rest of the team, and mainly through the top half. And I know Omo was just absolutely giving a lot of praise towards the top half of Divine Esports, because Coyote and Ton X are some of the best solo laners we have here in the C Championships.
Yeah, I think Tana X and Coyote, they are in amazing form right now. They know exactly what they need to do to provide their team with the, the advantages, the leads to really win out a game. And I love what we're seeing from the get-go right now. Divine is saying we want to play aggressive junglers. We want to go up in your face, like you said, Rafa. We want to take these AD fighters, get in your face, get some action down. And Nunu can really counteract some of these, especially Lee Sin, because you can interrupt his resonating strike with your snowball. So they get rid of that pick. They say we don't want to face this cheesier pick that we're not as used to fighting. We're gonna take Lee Sin. We have the strongest jungler basically in the game right now, and they're gonna round it off with more utility, more supportive casts. I think that this is gonna go over to Coyote and Tanex just based on what they've been showing. They're letting Len really shine here in the group stages.
So
I think it's interesting also that they banned out the Senna, because I remember that that was a power pick of SBTC during their matchup in the grand final as well.
Well, with the Vi lock-in from SBTC, do you just not lock in? Okay, I thought that Xayah would be kind of a decent counter pick into Vi, because you can always just cancel out with the Featherstorm. But Divine Esports, they're all inning on this dive composition, and now being able to role swap Galio potentially to the support role does open up Akali as the counter pick option here.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I think the Vi is definitely a very viable. Xayah was definitely a very viable option here, but Varus is just too much of a power pick, and Xayah would struggle a bit playing against these zone control from Ziggs, from Gragas. I really like.
Enriku, this entire draft, you're getting more and more excited. The only time I've seen you more excited is watching the trailer for the new Cowboy Bebop series. You were losing your mind as every single pick got locked in here.
I know. I mean, it was pretty scary looking at the draft from Divine Esports. They're going all in, especially when they saw that the Ziggs was getting locked in on the side of SBTC. So they needed an answer. They needed something that can deliver this Galio into the backline. And Coyote is here over again versus this Yasuo matchup. And Rafa pretty much summed it up. Summon Airy Keystone is just so important against the Yasuo. He's basically winning already in that the poke and the harass from this mid lane matchup.
Oh my lord. Julie gets a little big for his boots even. Thinks he can fight Coyote early. Gets hit by the swag flag, which is a new language I'm using. Thank you very much, Rafa. And Coyote comes out on top.
I love it. It's barrier now gone, so the defense of Julie is basically mitigated.
Wow.
And therefore he has to be careful. And the fact that, again, Len is on the Lee Sin. Len on Lee Sin is usually equals to victory, early game aggression, gonna be constantly invading your jungle, it's like Len doesn't need anybody. He can create proactive moves around the map without the assistance of Coyote.
There we go, both junglers, both all-star junglers in the bottom lane. Big taunt comes out from Quay. He is already dead. There is nothing Len can do except run for his life, because Akano is hot on his heels.
That is tough, because Len was hoping to get first blood possibly at bottom side, except that he was a little bit too late to the party. Quay can only tank for so much, especially up against the Ziggs, especially up against Akano, who has been harassing constantly in that 2v2 lane.
Top side, we just had a whole collapse around this Rift Scuttler. It did go over to Len, but there are 3-4 members actually from SBTC as Minas roams down, just hovering here. Len over the wall, on to Minas. Minas very low, pops the barrier, will survive with a heal as well. Quay is back, off of the respawn with a taunt, and he will keep everyone up.
This is just so close, and I mean, so far, we are going to see active movements from the supports, just because it's just a little easy to leave the supports into their, rather the AD carries into their own devices, just because of a ton of pokes, a ton of range, a ton of escape, especially on Kirill's side with a satchel, I suppose.
Yeah, what an uninteractive lane. This is just like two people playing different video games next to each other. It's just like date night, Riku. It's just when you go home and you're with your significant other and you're just like playing games next to each other and you're not actually like talking to each other, but you're enjoying the experience. That's what's going on in the bottom line.
Yeah, it's like being together and yet, yeah, not actually doing anything together. You're just there.
But you're just, you know, you're enjoying the silence. You're enjoying hanging out with some. That's what's going on in the bottom line. Kiral and Hope won. I'm writing the fanfic.
Oh, mid lane.
Julie in trouble here. Here is TF. Julie with a massive last whisper, but he can't find the kill. He's shut down. Len out in trade to TF.
Tarnex.
Here comes Tarnex. 1-for-1 so far, and Tarnex can't change it.
This is just so difficult. Both of these junglers are hoping to initiate in the mid lane just because, again, this Vi pickup just synergizes so well to set up for Julie here on that Yasuo. So they're aiming for these big single target pickoffs.
Huge cast.
What a cast.
That's massive from Akino. Quay stalls it up though. Mega Inferno Bomb will find the kill. A 3-point shot from Kiral.
And that is quite unfortunate. You're a Varus and you have no way to escape the fight and have that bonus mobility unless you have flash. So, Hope One had to accept his death.
Beautiful stuff. And here's the follow-up. Julie now under real threat. Coyote will dive this turret. Him and Len have the damage, but they're wary of the potential presence of Akino and TF, and they're right to be so. Not over-engaging.
Ults are available. Oh.
Quay forward. I think we're fine, Riku.
They're fine. Akino doesn't have cask though, so Divine Esports can rest a little easy without any of the scary Akino cast that we've seen earlier against Hope One and Quay. And for sure, Mega Inferno Bomb will play a huge part later on just to finish off targets. And of course, Minas as well. We talked about this before. Whenever there's a big poke champion on the board, usually you find yourself lacking the damage to finish off the kill. And that's why Minas is there as a Darius, to get that ult down and get the resets available for him.
And this is just some peak Vietnamese Wild Rift. This is exactly what these two teams do to each other every time they meet regionally. And we're getting to see it here on the international stage. Here's Len, Coyote round the side as this Drake is warmed up again.
Now this is them getting zoned out. They don't have much vision. Coyote
into the middle, backed up by the heroic entrance. Over the top comes Quay. It's massive. The taunt. It captures everybody inside on this Drake. It's going to be taken away by Divine. Len picks it up in the middle of the mess, but SBTC win the fight, killing Quay and Coyote in the midst of all of that.
I think that's pretty worth. Divine, Len most especially, is able to steal out that Infernal Drake out of SBTC in exchange for 2 kills to support in the mid lane, which again, that is exactly their job. You know, Coyote is already basically accepting his fate to constantly die because he's going to be the first one to enter the fight just to deliver the hero's entrance on this Galio, and that's just a beautiful taunt into the Cataclysm, just basically big AoEs. And it zoned out SBTC, gave space for Len to steal the dragon.
Len managing to kick backwards through that entire fight and just disengage from the action, focusing on taking that Drake. And that'll be first objective of the game over to Divine. And we still have a Rift Herald up for grabs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Divine can still get 2 out of 2 for early game objectives. And it all will depend on the ult economy once more, as we see them already almost back up. SBTC, of course, their setup is to immediately get the last breath on board with Akino. Possibly a big a 2-man, 3-man knockup perhaps would be ideal before Divine is able to dive into the fight. Now Tarnex and Julie's just gonna poke it out over here. The wind wall, just there for safety.
Here come SBTC. They're going to zone off around this Rift Herald and just try and get it before Divine can really get in here. Divine may or may not be interested in contesting. You can see Len just hovering.
Now Len's pretty scary here. Trying to find that kick again. Still very difficult though because you have to face, what, 3 beefy frontliners?
Minas doesn't get who he was aiming for with the pole. Here's the heroic entrance. That's massive. ToddX dancing through the fight. They're all low. Todd, perfect execution. It's times 4. And ToddX is into stasis with everybody low HP. Flash to chase. He's on Darkano. Todd gets 2 kills in the middle of another chaotic team fight.
That is a crazy fight coming from ToddX. He's able to penetrate the backline, and as well as, again, Coyote is able to fall first, but it's, again, pretty worth. And Akino, unfortunately, has been aiming to use the cask to catch people to set up for Julie. But if you don't have the cask for disengage available, ToddX is just, you know, free reigning at the backline. The fact that ToddX also is able to get an early hourglass, and I think that prioritization over that item means something that he's ready to go in constantly.
Yeah, ToddX, one of the best performers this tournament, Riku. So I am delighted that we're getting to see his Akali after an entire tournament where he's been dominating lane on less mobile, less lane dominant characters. To see him pull out just the ultimate in I'm gonna fight and there's nothing you can do about it is really exciting.
Yeah, always Darius, possibly maybe even relegated to Renekton, but at the same time, you know, ToddX is there to be able to just penetrate the backline and possibly just create chaos as well towards SBTC.
Here's my worry though. Yes, Divine are having a pretty good start to the game, but they haven't earned themselves a meaningful lead. And SBTC have a really deadly late game.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Julie is just going to hurt massively, going to instantly eliminate someone right off the bat after TF is able to engage, or perhaps Akino, Kiral as well. You know, it's still Roa coming from Kiral for first item, so it's there definitely for more of the sustain, especially because there's still a lot of respect towards Hope 1. That early poke coming in might prove to be dangerous. If everybody's pretty much low on SBTC side, it is ToddX there to be that, again, executioner to finish off the kill.
Akino in trouble now, top of this fight. Zoning down Divine. The Rift Herald was summoned in the mid lane to try and distract SBTC, but Divine do not get their money's worth. It'll charge. I don't even think it collapsed against the turret. The turret's still very healthy. SBTC can now scrap for this dragon.
Oh, Len? Oh dear!
He's caught! He's called out. Heroic entrance over the top from Quay to try and turn this. Todd has damage. TF's very low. TF's gone. 1 for 1. Both junglers down. No smites available. As Julie in the middle of all this is trapped inside the Cataclysm, and ToddX shuts him down. Still going forward. A triple kill. It's looking like he can't close it. He'll have to settle for 2, but the rest of the fight is cleaned up by Hope 1 as Divine beat SBTC yet again in the team fight.
Yes, exactly, TJ. The team fighting of Divine Esports is just so flawless. The fact that, again, only Len was basically the sacrificial lamb just because he safeguarded into danger and TF basically pulled the trigger. Okay, jungler isolated, we'll see, because Quay is just right there for the grand entrance, ready to set up all of these taunts. Again, take note, this is a quadruple melee composition, by the way, from SBTC. Therefore, taunts are going to be very easy to land, and unfortunately, you know, the cast coming from Akeno is not enough. He has been aiming to use the cast to basically ruin the positioning of Divine Esports. But let's take a look at this again. Dragon.
Time for round 2. Len in the pit. Len on the Drake. Len has stolen away the dragon. Here's the play immediately afterwards as Len dives into the middle of the fight. You have the massive Cataclysm splitting things up, but SBTC holds strong. Len and ToddX both focused down. TF to the front line. Interrupts Quay. He's gone as well. Minas slaughtering them. Julie already on 2 kills. And that is a big turn for SBTC as Minas chases down Quay. He won't find the pickup.
Yeah, exactly. This is a big turnaround because of the Baron now being available. Everybody's pretty much low. Divine Esports, they still have Coyote and Quay. Yeah, his ult is so close to coming online, so they can basically stop this as, again, SBTC already stopped.
But Coyote is called out. Good cask. He's gone to the Asua ult. It does mean that SBTC can't take the Baron, though.
Yeah, I think it's pretty worth. It was SBTC were pretty low. TF, Akino, Julie, and pretty much everybody else were in danger of a sudden hero's entrance into the Baron pit. and basically would die from all the taunts in the world. So this is a good call. The death timers at this moment, 12 minutes into the game, still not as punishing as SBTC would love it though. So Divine Esports still has that big win condition of the Elder Drake later on.
Len on to Julie in the top lane. Quay coming in here as well, but Julie turns. He dies. He's got Len. 1 for 1 at least. And here comes Midas. Oh, he survives. Julie able to get away. And Quay's executed by the guillotine. SBTC have a firm gold lead. For the first time this game, it's 1,000 in the bank.
And the fact that Julie is 5-2-6 on this Yasuo already has an Infinity Edge, therefore every single time he's gonna last breath, he's just going to basically eliminate you right off the bat, and that is a very worrying trend, especially if ever Julie gets a little bit more bigger. Look at this though, Baron now initiated, Len, teleport, buying the boots.
Kirol onto this. Baron is just burning away at it. This Baron's going to get taken very easily by SBTC, but how many can they get out of the pit? Megan Furlong is stasis. Tarnex will die immediately afterwards. On the other side, 1 for 1 in the trading. Both top laners gone. TF, oh, what a massive ult there. Absolutely explodes the front line. Hope 1 into stasis, but Julie on the dive. He's got them all low. They're all cleared up. It's just Len still alive for Divine as the late game has arrived for SBTC.
It has been incredibly painful every single time Divine would meet SBTC in a team fight, and clearly there is only one instance where Divine has reigned supreme. Let's take a look at that replay again. It seemed perfect to try and steal the Baron, but you know, Julie, or rather everybody else coming from SBTC was just right there, and again, just so difficult because Julie is just massive already in this game.
And that might be the most damage I've ever seen a Divine do in this team fight. Look at TF.
Yeah, it's pretty painful, which is understandable because the composition of Divine is pretty squishy. I mean, they do have Quay, they do have Coyote, but again, Coyote is going to be understandably the first one to die because he's going to be the first one to come in.
TF looking around the sides here. Does have Len to grab. Down bottom, it's Coyote running away from the action. Quay, Hope 1, Len all kiting back. Very good dodge by Quay. He iframes the explosive cast with the Justice Punch.
Yeah, nicely done. Is able to survive another day. And this time around, though, gonna be a little bit scary. Just because of that Baron buff. Wave clear wise, Hope 1, Quay can definitely help. Winds of War, Piercing Arrow as well. But the rest will have to sit back in the back line and be careful of the apprehends and the cast that Akeno's gonna do.
Akeno into the front lines, last breath, doesn't find the damage. Good Cataclysm, but in the middle of all that, Midas knocks the guillotine drop. He doesn't find the kill. Quay gets 1. Coyote traded out for both Julie and Akeno. Down bottom, Tarnex looking for more. TF and Midas scared away. No damage onto Kirol, so they can't chase, but Divine win a fight.
Yeah, there's no ults anymore for Divine to initiate and see if they can punish out Kirol. And yeah, this is the late game we were talking about. 7k gold lead. Julie...
Do they get Dragon?
They get Dragon as well, yes.
What?
And this is...
Surely not. Rika? They're all so low.
SBTC! They're... No, yeah, no.
That's incredible. Just the call from SBTC to go, yeah, we only have 3 players up. Yeah, they're low HP, but we've counted the cooldowns. We know Divine can't chase. We're going to take the Dragon.
Yeah, there's no vision whatsoever coming from Divine as well, so it is a pretty tall order to try and deny the Ocean Drake. I mean, I feel like Divine, their last stand is going to be surely this Baron, this upcoming Baron. And now we get to see Tarnex picking up this Rabadon's death cap. We'll see if he's able to eliminate Kirol right away. Look at the Zhonya's hourglasses enchants. There's 3 of them just to deny whenever Julie comes in with the last breath. So we'll see if that's going to help immensely because right now, Julie is the biggest problem Divine has to clearly eliminate first.
And that's a worrying sign for me because Kirol's doing damage as well, but Divine just can't worry about him because of what Julie's doing.
That's why Tarnex has a lot of pressure on him. He is going to be the primary back line well, accessor, if that's actually a word.
Sure.
See now.
He's got the key pass. He's got the lanyard at the convention that lets you get into the back line.
Yeah, right. He has access. He's got that big VIP with a fancy lanyard. Exactly.
And I don't know if he's gonna be able to get through. I don't know if security got the memo. You know, when you're like, I've got the lanyard, but the guy at the door doesn't know what the lanyards are. I feel like that might be what's going on here, because there's been such a good job done by Akino and Minas of just protecting that back line. Coyote now in trouble, caught out by Akino. And this might be it. Desperate heroic entrance. Coyote, already half HP, lands the cataclysm, jumps away. He survives. Kiro picked up. Tardex in the backline, gets the kill. That's a massive pickup. Hope one lives through the engage from Julie, but the turnaround is there as Minas pops off in the front line, shutting down Tardex. A deep dive from Len goes into GA behind the turret. Quay, Hope one, both get shut down, and Minas has done it. SBTC have done it. Divine Esports are clean wiped in game number 1, and the regional rivalry will bear the same result as usual. SBTC 1, Divine 0.
Exactly. SBTC has never lost a game against Divine Esports during their group stage and the playoffs run in the Vietnamese region. And just as you mentioned, TJ, it's...
If all things come, you know, to that end of the day, so SBTC now being on blue side, they'll have priority over first pick, and maybe TF will want to lock in the Lee Sin, taking it away from Len. But Divine, I imagine that they don't want to let them run with the Yasuo composition once again.
Yeah, the problem I feel right now is you just can't afford the bans on red side. On blue side, maybe that's something you could argue for. Open the Nunu, ban away the Yasuo. But on red side, there's just too many bans right now, unless SBTC banned that Renekton. This is a bit cheeky. I'm quite curious to see what they'll go for here. Banning Renekton on blue instead of opting to first pick it signals you probably want something like the Varus. Okay, this Darius priority is rising a lot. We did see this pick do really poorly in play-ins, in my opinion. But it seems like coming into groups, a lot of these Baron laners realize that, you know what? We don't have to be the primary carries in a lot of these team fights. We just be stable, we be a brick wall, and our team can do a lot of work here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're gonna see the Varus again for Divine Esports. I find it interesting that it was kind of like their 2 wins against SBTC and their fall season finals that did go over to them, and that was kind of their good luck charm. But what are they gonna do now that SBTC has it? And you know, if this is gonna go over to Kirol, which most likely it is, you know, SBTC Esports, I do remember Kirol very memorable performance on Varus indeed.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a tricky bot lane to play into. I would not want to be the one that's tasked with playing up against Kirol and Arcano on Varus Trash. It seems like the answer from Divine is going to be doubling down on fighting into their bot lane. Zyra Khan, they're going to get dominated in this lane matchup unless you can find avenues to get on top of Kirill's Varus, knock him up, go for all-in windows. But a lot of the burden would then come down to Aquino and how he plays around his lanterns, his flays, to try to cancel the Rakan engage. So this bot lane matchup should be a really spicy one to look out for. Okay, I like this.
Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Knife cat, knife. Yeah! Knife cat
Knife
out
cat.
on the rift. Okay. Now, Rengar is a champion that I've been a huge fan of coming on, just because not only you have a lot of flexibility in build path, either you can go for a full assassination build if you are lacking in damage over the overall composition. You just need a single target threat to just nuke one person on the side of Divine Esports.
SBTC draft, because we get to see the Thresh once more, and every single time a Thresh is locked in, you would always assume that Akino is going to roam around the map with the jungler. But we've seen the opposite 2 days ago, where instead the jungler will constantly visit the bottom lane and utilize this big pick potential coming from Akino and Kirol. Remember, that sentence into the chain of corruption is pretty deadly.
Oh, however, what if you flay Quay forward in lane? Is that deadly?
I think that's I think I remember what the Jess mentioning it, that it is a possibility, but the flay timing has to be absolutely perfect for the grand entrance. So I'm excited to see how Akino is going to play around the big knockups coming from Quay on this Rakan.
We also have just kind of a weird matchup in AD carries. We were talking about this during the draft on our side, where Xayah is one of the shortest ranged AD carries in the game. Varus, not so. He's got really long arms, so it's going to be very difficult for Hope1 to make things happen if somebody else isn't engaging for him.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a challenge. There is, though, the big thing where you have that self-peel, you have that root just for the potential punish. I feel like it's going to be very important. Oh, bullish, right?
Oh. Len has to burn flash. Coyote doesn't get the memo, goes into this fight, needs to flash away as well. Oh, flash over the wall! There's so many flashes playing through the fight. Hope1 over. Coyote already dead. Everyone at SBTC is low. Julie takes to the front line as Led dives into the back. And Led goes down as well. A double kill to TF.
Oh my word! Divine invested so much
They
on
just
that.
collapsed.
Exactly! They flashed over the wall just to join the fight. And at the end, they weren't able to cash in. It is the opposite. They lost money.
There's a concept in landscape design, Riku,
I'm ready to get
Cold.
schooled. All right.
called the desire path, which is where if a whole bunch of people like, do I have time for this? Mina's fighting for this Rift Scuttler. Yeah, I do. So if a whole bunch of people like walk across a lawn, you'll get a kill onto a Rakan. And
Yeah.
it will leave like this dirt track, you know, a lot of people cut across a yard in front of a school or something. And it will leave this dirt trail that other people then follow. And that's known as a desire path. And I feel like with the amount of flashes over the wall right there, it should have like eroded the wall. Because Divine like weren't on the same page at all. They were flashing in, they were flashing out. Some of them were engaging, some of them were disengaging. They needed to get on the same page and design the landscape together.
And it was, yeah, they were both on different pages. And I think the most awkward thing is that if you ever flash into the wall and basically dive into melee range, okay, was that a steal?
Stole it!
Carol, what a sneaky, sneaky Varus.
What a bastard! Oh, he gets away! Okay, all right. I was gonna lose my mind, Draco.
Same is able to finish off the kill before he can fly away and escape, basically. But there's just so many things going on, and I think
That's
it's
true.
really there's
was
just a lot,
struggling.
TJ. I know. I just got a landscape lesson, and we're seeing a lot of fights happening. A blue steal as well coming from Kirol. But exactly that, Divine has to be careful because, again, looking at their composition, that's 4 melees. That means easy taunts coming from the side of SBTC. I also like this dynamic as well. You know, Julie had an amazing game on the Galio earlier, or no, had an amazing Yasuo game earlier, but Julie, you know, steps back a little bit, gonna play utility, gonna set up for the team.
Yeah, whenever you're on Galio, you still do damage, but it takes a while to get going. And during that early game, you're kind of a second support. We'll see how that plays out as this dragon is being picked up. SBTC will get the dragon. Divine, in the meantime, are looking for this Rift Herald, and Minas is dueling Tarnax. Here's Len in the area as well, seeing if he can get in on the action.
Len.
And he might need to. Minas slows that down so much. Here comes the rest of Divine, burning their way up the river. And TF jumps right in onto Len, dropping Len very low. Akana misses the death sentence,
Akana.
but flashes over the wall with a play onto Quay. Len kiting as far back as he can, looking back into the fight, but not engaging. The rest of Divine will get away, but very narrowly, SBTC get both early objectives.
TF finds Len every single time. Firstly, towards their own Divine's Esports. Divine Esports is blue buff, and now immediately near the Rift Herald. And with that, Len can't exactly have the same space to perform and create these flashy moves as the Lee Sin. We constantly saw Len's performance during the play-ins, being able to rattle the jungle, invade constantly, get early leads, even without the help of Coyote. But this time around, SBTC, TF, basically putting Len on a tight leash. He's unable to maximize the power of this Lee Sin, and you know, it's just basically seeing Divine Esports on a different light.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating, I think, for Divine, because they wanted to take over this early game through the Lee Sin. And that's just not going to happen
Cast.
unless we see something here. Good explosive cast. Kirol in trouble. Kirol dead. Len finds the kill. Now kiting away as Julie looks for the play. He'll find a big taunt and shut down Len. Julie and CF need to kite away, but CF jumps back in onto Coyote and gets booted. Gets focused down. He's gone. Hope One finds the kill. Julie into the front lines and Hope One feather storms him. A heroic turn for Hope One, and Divine win the trading.
There you go. That is exactly what the fights that Divine Esports would love to have. This is a composition that is so good when it comes to the mid game, and the big 5v5s are going to be incredibly strong on the side of Divine, especially when Coyote finds a beautiful cast to misposition SBTC and basically catch them off guard. We also saw the knockups. We also saw the roots coming from Hope One. And if SBTC decides to go fully commit, there is that big punish potential coming from Divine.
TF and Akino ram the side onto Quay. He'll be pulled out, still able to disengage, but Julie's kind of working his way in. Hope One needs to flash to avoid it. Len and Tarnax for the counter gank. Len onto the front lines, pushed away. Akino drops the box. Quay finds a 4-man knockup. It's massive. Do they have the follow-up with the cask? No, not enough damage. They can't complete the kills. Quay dies. Len goes in, can't kill anything. Deep dive from Minas onto the front lines of Divine. Already killed Tarn, and everyone's just got to run away. They're very low on SBTC, but they will be fine.
That is the issue. We talked about very strong mid game, but also the damage portion of things is going to be a little bit lacking. So late game team fights are definitely going to be ideal. SBTC though is able to maneuver around that. They use Julie as a way to dive into the backline, or tower dive rather, and gain access to Hope One, is able to burn a flash. And the way that SBTC maneuvers around these fights, just waiting for cooldowns, going back up, going back in, is just really beautiful to watch. Looks like SBTC is going to be prepared for the next Dragon take, though. It's going to be Air Drake, which is extremely important when there's a Thresh, when there's a TF, when there's a Galio. There's just so much roam potential happening here, and pick potential that Divine Esports has to try and deny this Air Drake.
We need to talk about this, Rika.
Yes.
This is a Cloud Drake.
Yes, it is. It's a Cloud Drake.
But not an Air Drake.
That is so
Some
specific.
Avatar, The Last Airbender stuff going on here.
I don't know why. I really like the name Air Drake. That's why.
Yeah, no, I know you know, but it keeps being an Air Drake. It'll be taken by SBTC. Call them the Fire Nation, I guess. They'll take a turret down bottom as well, as they're beginning to run away with this game, Rika.
Yeah, this is starting to look like complete domination coming from SBTC again. Len, come late game, it's just going to be that kick bot. He's just going to be there to try and steal objectives. Akino?
Onto the Thresh, so it's a massive waste of time. Akino survives. Taunt from Julie ties down Quay. Quay's very low. Tarnax into the front line. Onto TF. Can't find the kill. He's got a blast code away. Back in with Len. It's synced up. They finally kill Akino, but it's trade for Quay. The dive keeps going up front from Coyote, and he trades for Julie, but it's 1 for 1 now, 2 for 2. An even trade for Divine. Nothing more.
Did you see how much damage Hope One was doing to Minas?
That was a little scary.
No, it was nothing. Unfortunately, it was nothing, TJ.
That's why I was scared. I was like, wow, this Zaya's sure not playing the game right now.
And
you could not be tapping the auto attack button and you would be doing an equivalent amount of damage.
Exactly. It was, yeah, I feel the same way. You know, it's a little bit worrying. It's a little bit scary on the side of Divine Esports, because every single time just Minas becomes this brick wall in between fights, and Hope One has no choice but to defeat the tank.
Defeat is an interesting word.
Okay, tickle the tank. I think that is more appropriate.
Some people like tickling. Minas is one of those people. Loves it when Hope One tickles him a bit. We do see Tarnax drop down bottom. Len's caught out in exactly the same place, forced to blow the kink to deliver a TF over to the Rift Scuttler he was going to take anyway. He says, thanks for the ride. Getting an Uber.
Call an Uber. There it is.
Excellent service. Actually, 2 stars got kicked in the chest. I don't... Actually, pretty low rating, I think, for that one.
Yeah, I don't think it's good service. Whoop.
Quay called out here. Coyote split off as well. Quay'll jump to Coyote, and Coyote's pulled out by the death sentence. He's gone. Quay's dead as well. He just didn't know it yet. He'll go down, and SBTC really running away with this one now as Minas dodges and dives onto Hope 1, and Hope 1 roots him, but is not doing any damage. Flashing into the base. TF follows. TF into stasis. TF might be dead here, but the turret aggro resets, and TF will just walk away out from underneath the turret.
Akino with the casual sidestep there, avoiding the Sonic Wave coming from Len. This is just complete control coming from SBTC. And we talked about this before, right? Cloud Drake, TJ, it was important for SBTC, and that is exactly why this roaming death squad of just constantly visiting, invading the jungle of Divine Esports, and always finding a kill every single time. No threats whatsoever to Kiral. Again, big pressure onto Tan X, and as well as Quay to penetrate the backline, but these choke points are so scary just because of Julie. Easy taunt. 4 melee, easy taunt for Julie. Chain of Corruptions, also very easy to connect every single one and stun everyone, and root everyone rather. So, again, Divine has to pick their fights, and possibly the Baron could be available, but they have no vision.
And they also are going to get zoned off if they start to investigate here. Minas and Akino, a devastating front line, just stalled this fight up while SBTC turned to take it. And that's enough to force Divine away. We do have Riku, a Fire Drake coming up.
Yes, it is. Oh, fight though.
Coyote called out, taunted, will be gone. Into the back lines goes the rest of the team, but nothing's gonna come from it. Divine slaughtered yet again as Tarnex is guillotined. A big Featherstorm Blade Caller from Hope 1 does damage, shuts down Julie. That's all they're gonna get though, underneath the turret. Minas finds 2 more for a triple kill in the fight, and he's still going forward. This is gonna be the inhibitor's gone. It's just Len left standing as SBTC clean up the regional rivalry yet again. A devastating lead, 10,000 gold over Divine.
Now this is gonna be a sweet 2-0 against Divine. It's looking to be that case right now because we talked about this. Hope 1 doesn't have any damage at this point of the game so far, even though Divine is looking to be such a scary late game team fight composition. Len going in.
Dodging, diving. Akino will survive this experience. The pressure here is on to Kiral, and Coyote with a flash cast will actually threaten Kiral. Trying to kill him. He can't finish it. Kiral walks away, and TF jumps into the front lines, now threatening Tarnex. Do they have the damage to turn this? Absolutely not. So they must run, and Tarnex can't, so he flashes deep to slow down the chase. A play which works, stopping SBTC from catching the rest of Divine, but still, there's 2 players gone, and Divine are still down 10,000 gold.
Now this is still a lot for Divine to handle, and SBTC now kicking in with this Baron take. Len quite far away from this if they do want to steal.
Yeah, I don't know how you play this. Vision is here. Hope 1 out of the Featherstorm. Quay very low. That Galio doing a ton of damage.
Len
what a death sentence
going
found
in.
by
Oh, he steals it! What?
Steals it! What was that? Len weaves his way up the river, gets in past Akino, who's distracted by the presence of Hope 1, and steals away the Baron.
I mean, it was the unexpected entrance of a Lee Sin. Usually, okay, I'm red side, I'm a Lee Sin. I'm gonna come through from the back of the Baron pit. But no, we know everybody else is pretty much zoning away the rest of Divine. Might as well go the opposite portion of the map, where I'm just gonna hide on the brush, wait till the Baron is low, go in, get the Baron.
Wow.
Really nice steal.
Just walks his way up the river, bides his time. What does that... Oh, dear Tarnex. Nice escape. That was a swag flag if I've ever seen one, Rafa.
It is pretty smooth. Swag flag. I like the term. Yeah, so what this could potentially entail, Divine gets to play another fight, possibly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they win that though. Coyote spends the explosive cast just to live a little longer. Quay quite intelligently waiting there to slow down the play, force attention paid towards him. And Lan turning out. Death sentence from Akino onto Coyote. Poke continues here in the mid lane, but Minas is looking for blood. He won't find it.
There's just too much damage coming from SBTC. Too much damage before the fight even starts, so that is a problem. Whenever Divine will go in, like right now.
Julie. Tarnax onto Julie. I'm not sure what the point of that is, because Julie just taunts him. There's the guillotine. Minas finds the kill. Trade on Akino did happen, but it's support for AD carrying top lane, and Divine just have to run. Julie dives the back line. Coyote, Len running for their lives. Clay hits a massive, heroic knockup. And I think the Baron means that SBTC can't end. They're going to have so much prio on this Elder coming up in just about 30 seconds.
Yeah, SBTC can just continue to put the pressure down. Get out, just get out. Well, not get out. Take out these inner towers. And again, you mentioned they just have so much space. Divine's chances of turning this game around, because everything else is basically already, you know, falling off. Len fell off already pretty much, just there to be an objective stealer and a kick bot. You also have Coyote as well, who's just gonna get shredded down most of the time. Damage falling off already. X as well, whenever he'd go in, he's just gonna get shredded down by the rest of SBTC or get greeted by Minas. Just gonna out damage and out sustain this Jarvan 4. So it's looking pretty dicey for Divine.
Oof. Big pull from Minas, doesn't find anything. And there's the Elder. The Water Drake up for grabs. TF on the dive. Oh, that's a big find. Coyote's dead. And what do you do, Divine?
Sadly, just watch everything fall. We're still trying though. Divine just wanting to push the mid lane though, just to see if they can slow down the minion build-up towards the mid lane, since that's already open. We'll see if they have access towards this dragon.
Gotta be a heroic steal. Len looking for a way to weave his way through. He's too late.
Kick.
Len can't make the play. He'll kick Akino and just try and escape. In the meantime, Minas cleans up Hope 1. Len running for his life, chased by Minas, will likely get away. But then in this time, oh dear, SBTC finds the kill. But in this time, SBTC are just running down the mid lane. Stasis, good job, Len. Over the wall. TF can't follow. Doesn't matter though, because here come SBTC. And there's game number 2. SBTC 2-0. Divine Esports upholding the regional dominance they professed during the Icon